All right.
And
And will you have a problem? I'm assuming not, but if I wanted to
yeah, we're live now.
post, okay, perfect. If I wanted to post this on Facebook, once you put it up on YouTube, you won't care, right?
No,
Obviously.
not at all. Not at
Okay,
all.
I figure it's public domain at that
Yeah,
point.
I would love for you to share this out. That's kind of the whole point of this channel is um, because I have so many fantastic conversations with my friends and with people, and I love connecting with people on a deep level and just relating. And I think always in the back of my mind when we're having these conversations, I'm like, man, like more people should be hearing this right now.
Yes, I've had so many conversations with friends that are the same way, or like, God damn, we should be on a podcast right now. Like, why is this
Right?
not recorded? Yes.
Exactly. So that's kind of like partly what inspired me even creating this channel to begin with, is so that, we can have these conversations and that other people can hear them and, benefit, relate. Cause I found that usually whatever we're going through, there's a lot of other people going through the same thing.
Oh my God, yes. But obviously, when we're going through it, I mean, in my experience, when we're going through it, we feel like the only human being in the world, and we look around and everyone else is happy and joyful, and we're going through our shit, and we're like, well, I guess I'm broken. I guess I'm fucked up. So yeah, it's so important.
Yeah. It's totally easy to fall into that trap of, that the victim consciousness, like, oh, my world's falling apart and woe is me. um yeah, that's an easy place to fall into, I think, when you're
Yeah, exactly. And even if you say it's falling apart, that could actually be a good thing too. So that's,
absolutely.
that's kind of where I'm at. Everything's crumbling. It hurts like a motherfucker, and I'm able to see that I know it's happening for a reason. But it can be challenging for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And I just want to say, like, I appreciate that you are consistently showing up even though
Thank you.
your world is falling apart, and even though it's challenging and painful. Like, that shows so much courage to do that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's like I've always felt one of my missions is to kind of get rid of shame on this planet, because I feel like I accumulated so much as a kid or through ancestral whatever. I had a lot in my system, and by sharing my journey out loud, I know that, well, for one, it's helpful for me because it's like I said before we hopped on, it's like an art form for me to share and express and write and speak. And then also I know that there's so many people going through their own shit, going through the same things that I've gone through, that feel um, empowered and not alone by what I share. So it feels really, really important, no matter how embarrassing my mind might tell me it is. Like right now, today, the reason today has been so painful, I'll just share. For one, I'm just feeling a lot of pain in my body, like a lot of grief and sadness and things like that. But then all the stories come in of like, so I recently left my partner Jamie, and even though I know it was the right decision, I can see like what's happening for her in the future so clearly. Like she's going to meet this guy. She already met this guy, and they're going to, run these retreats together, and they're going to be this power couple. And so all these victim stories come in of like, oh, woe is me. I wasted my time. What am I going to do? And here I am with no home. I'm staying with a friend right now, not sure what I'm going to do next, not sure what I'm doing vocationally, feeling like all of this has brought up the fact that I've never truly followed my own direction in life. So it's like I'm completely starting over. And today I've just been really sitting with that of like, fuck, this feels like a complete death. And allowing that to happen has been really challenging. And yet I do see the only thing keeping me going right now is just being able to see the fact that it's for a reason. It's burning away what I was attached to, what I thought was me. And it hurts really bad because I was very attached to these identities. But yeah, I'm seeing the beauty on the other side slowly, slowly.
Yeah, I can relate to that a lot because
Yeah.
it's so funny when people say, or when people ask you, like, have you had your dark night of the soul yet? I'm like, oh, I've like lost count of how many of those I've had. I've had several of those. And even with this year, I mean, I'll share a little bit about my story. So very early this year in January, I had to quit my career because I had been doing it for 16 years, and I literally felt like it was just killing me. Like my soul, it was just sucking my soul and killing me. And it just, it took a lot out of me mentally, energetically, and I wasn't enjoying it. So I just had to leave. Like my higher self was telling me, no, you need to just like walk away from this. So
Mm.
I quit my career. And at the time I was living in Southern California. So I got this message from my higher self that said, you need to move back home. I was like, I really don't want to do that. But I did
Back
anyway,
home, like where you're from, or with your parents, or what do you mean?
with my parents. Yep.
And how old are you? I'm just curious, so my mind can judge you.
Yeah. I'm 38.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So I moved in with my parents, which was, at that age, you're just like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And
Mm-hmm.
your mind wants to judge that. And of course,
Oh my God,
a
yes.
lot of people in society want to judge that, right? So I moved back home and I was kind of chilling at home, just resting for the first time in a long time and trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. Um, and so I think it was maybe in August, I've been there for several months. And, I told my parents that part of the reason I was coming was for healing and healing within our family. But I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that they really understood what that meant. um, and anyway, there were some complications, and I was asked to leave.
Oh
And
wow.
oh yeah, so
Fuck.
I was asked to leave, and my mind just jumped to, oh, you got to get another job. Duh, you got to like go
Mm-hmm.
back and do that. And my soul, like, I was like, no, 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 I really don't want to do that. So right now I'm doing work trades through Workaway. And so like technically I'm homeless if you really want to get technical about it, and I'm kind of just like jumping around to like different places. And yeah, it's
Are
been
you in an Airbnb right now, or where are you staying?
I'm at a Workaway right now.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'll look into that. How does that work?
So yeah, how it works is you work about 20 or 25 hours a week in exchange for room and board. They have all different types. They're all over the world. Um, and yeah, this is my second one. So I've learned a lot so far. And yeah, it's been really interesting though, like the stuff that comes up even still around, the root chakra and security and safety and like, what am I
Yes.
doing? And, the mind keeps on coming in and trying to judge it. Um, but yeah, it's what I'm doing for right now. No, it's
That's super cool and it's inspiring. I think one of the things that I've realized on this path is that so many people like us, I think, that are doing our best to evolve and be conscious and live lives that are actually aligned to who we are. So many people are going through shit like this right now where they have like money issues, they don't know where they're going to live, they don't know what their job is, they don't know who they are anymore, but they're just like trusting and leaping. And the path of following your intuition, I think, is always going to seem nuts because it's not going to sync up with like what society has laid out for us. So I just want to honor you for doing that, and it helps me for sure feel not crazy or not alone in this. So yeah, that's
yeah,
beautiful.
we can be crazy together.
Yeah, exactly. Like, because
I
on the outside it seems nuts. Like my family back home, and we have a good relationship, like my parents and I, but I don't talk to like any of my friends anymore because they probably think I'm fucking insane because the last year I've changed so much. But it sounds nuts. It's like, hey Jeff, you have like tens of thousands of credit card debt. You don't have a steady job. You just left a relationship that foreseeably was good for you. Like, what the fuck are you doing? It sounds insane, but I know it's what my soul needed.
yeah,
And now I get to trust.
yeah, you got to listen to yourself, and no one knows yourself better than you do, right? And I think like too, a lot of people too, it sounds so crazy because they're almost like putting themselves in your shoes, like they're thinking
Right.
like, oh, well,
Projecting.
I would never do that. I could never do that, but it's not them, it's you. So
Exactly. Yeah, they're projecting their own like matrix ideas onto you. Like, how are you going to make money? How are you going to survive? And all that, it's fear,
here's
really. It's all fear.
that's exactly what it is.
And what I've realized is like, yes, money is important, but there's also so much abundance around me, like in terms of humans that have reached out to support me, and like people that have offered advice and places to stay. And it's like I get to at least experience what abundance means beyond money. I get to feel supported in other ways too. So it's just really opening me up.
Yeah, that's beautiful, because abundance is so much more than money. So much
Oh
more.
my God, yes.
So much
And
more.
that's I don't are you into human design? Did we talk about that at all before we
No, we did not talk about that.
okay, I'll have to look at your chart later on because I love it. I've been really diving into it. One of my clients is like a whiz. She's like a teacher and a coach of human design, but I'll just share it's like a big part of my chart is learning to transcend the need for material abundance. So it's like that's what I'm doing right now, is like completely letting go of needing anything material to feel okay. And yeah, just this huge ego burning process, and it's fucking intense.
Yeah, it is intense. And I think like people who are actually doing it and doing the work will understand that. But people on the outside have no idea how intense it can be. I don't even know if like I can really describe it in words.
Hmm.
The intensity of the doubt and all the emotions that come up, the grief, the shame, the fear, the looping of the old programs, like
Yes.
the times where we think we're going absolutely crazy. And I think sometimes we
Hmm.
are, and that's okay. Um, you know, but yeah, it's very intense.
I'd love to know what are your favorite methods, like when you're feeling that intense shame or fear or doubt, what do you use to move through them?
Yeah, great question. Well, if I have access to a bath, I'll definitely do
Yes,
that.
I agree with that.
Put some Epsom salts in there, maybe some essential oils, but I don't always have access to that. And I know not everybody does. Like a bath is actually a luxury, that
Hmm.
not everyone has. So being in nature, grounding, walking around on the grass barefoot, and just being in nature, hugging a tree, sitting by a tree and just like talking to it. And if people walk by me, they probably think I'm nuts, but that's okay. And movement, I love to dance to music and get out my
Nice.
props and practice flow arts and just move
Cool.
my body. Yeah, what about you? What do you do during those times?
Yeah, I'm still learning. Definitely baths, showers, like water is really healing, but baths is especially because it allows my body to like relax. Because when I feel a lot of emotions, my body gets really tense.
Mhm.
And that's been a common theme for me. And that's kind of what I'm leaning into more in this next stage, is really releasing all the tension and letting it all out because I feel so deeply. Often just listening to music, like I'll lay down and just listen to music, and that seems to really clear out because I'm very, very sensitive to music. So just like letting it come through me, and sometimes I'll start to shake because the energy is moving and the emotions are coming, and I'll just let it happen. Um, Certain yoga poses are really helpful. So like forward fold, kind of just what feels right in the moment. And then going for a walk and getting in nature, like you said. The most important thing for me, and this is something that I'm continuing to lean into because I've had such an addiction to it, is not being on my phone. Because my first instinct when I feel emotional pain is like, oh no, I feel grief, I feel intense depression, sadness, all these things. I don't want to. And then there's almost this like autopilot desire to grab my phone so I can scroll Facebook because it numbs it temporarily. So
Mhm.
that's what I've really been leaning into during this time when I'm alone and kind of just out and about is just being away from my phone and really just being with the emotions and understanding that they're not going to kill me. Like the things I'm most afraid of, they're kind of happening right now and I'm still alive. And
Absolutely.
yeah, the more I surrender to what's happening, the easier it gets to be. But there's still many moments where the ego comes in and fights the change and says, well, what if maybe you should go back to your relationship? Um, yeah. And I'll just share what it's kind of felt like to me. And I don't know if you experienced this. It's like when we starve our old programs, it's like detoxing from a drug. So I think that's why it's so challenging. It's like we've been addicted to certain ways of being, certain ways of behaving, certain trauma patterns, and then to actually let go of those is literally like letting go of a 20-year heroin habit. So I
Oh,
just want to offer that to like, because we can beat ourselves up. I know I beat myself up all the time. Like, oh my God, I should be perfect. I should be conscious. I should be like have perfect posture, be doing yoga 2 hours a day. But when I remind myself that, like, yeah, dude, these are deep programs, it's very helpful. Yeah.
yes. And having the compassion, even when we're not perfect. Like for me, one of my, go-to coping mechanisms is food. So, if I'm stressed, oh, I need to go get some chocolate or some wine or whatever it is. And like I can feel myself now when something comes up, how that urge just kicks in just like that. And my mind is
Yes.
like, chocolate, chocolate. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just like sit with this for a little while. And, maybe sometimes I will get the chocolate to soothe myself and make myself feel better. And that's okay. But I'm aware of it now. It's not just something that I'm doing mindlessly and subconsciously. And I know I'm still working through it. And that's okay. We have to
Yes.
be compassionate to ourselves.
God, yes.
Yeah. Nobody's perfect. Nobody.
Now I want some chocolate though.
Oh,
You
I'm so
like dark? Are you a dark chocolate fan?
yes, I love dark chocolate. That's
Me
the
too.
only kind, I thought.
Basically, I feel like when you get to a certain point where you care about your health, you realize that you got to go with dark chocolate.
Yeah. So now, I try to make better choices. I've got my cacao that I get from South America. And so I'll, make myself a nice cup of cacao. And yeah, it's a healthier choice and usually it satisfies me. But yeah, hey, you know what? We mess up sometimes. It's all right.
Hmm.
It's okay. It's all
So
right.
with I wanted to ask, so with the work away that you do, what kind of work are you doing right now then? The 20, 25 hours.
Yeah, so right now, I'm staying with my host is a dog breeder. And so she's got several dogs on the property. And then recently just had a litter. I posted some stuff on my Facebook. They're super cute. And we're expecting another one in early January. So basically, it's just helping out around the house, like doing some cooking, maybe some like cleaning, helping with the dogs, taking care of them. And then anytime that they go out of town, basically I'm dog sitting, house sitting. So yeah, it's been relatively easy. Not too stressful. It's enjoyable because I really love animals. So yeah, it's been good.
Awesome. And then are you creating stuff on the side as well? Because I know I saw your page and I can't remember what you listed, but you do other things on the side, right? As well.
Yes, I do. Well, I think this YouTube channel is probably one of my largest focuses at the moment. But then I also do offer coaching and integration support as well for
Nice.
after plant medicine. Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But the YouTube channel has definitely been my primary focus lately because it just feels like what I'm supposed to be doing right now.
Mm,
And it's effortless. It's so fun. It's like it doesn't feel like work.
mm-hmm.
Like I just I saw this post from someone um and they were I was a little taken aback because there's somebody that's in the plant medicine community, but I mean, I've learned that that doesn't necessarily mean anything.
No, it does not.
No, you can sit with plant medicines, and it just kind of depends on the person and the timeline and trajectory that they're on and all of that stuff. So
Hmm.
yeah, but they posted about work and how, they're seeing all over the place that they're short staffed and nobody wants to work, and in came all their judgments about, oh well, people need to get off their asses and go to work. It's like, that's interesting. It's interesting that you would think that, because I think that, like, we can create a different society. We can create a different
Hmm.
world where we don't have to work, where nobody really has to work. People actually
Yes,
get to just live
yes,
their passions.
yes, exactly. That's what I see happening, is like these communities, these tribes that are getting created, sustainable tribes, and then everyone just gets to like operate in their zone of genius, and then we all work together. And
Exactly.
there's no money, there's not even money. It's just like people living their passion and supporting one another.
Exactly. And I know some of these communities already exist. I'm actually gonna go visit one in March, but I took a I think it's intentional communities dot
Hmm.
the website. Are you familiar with it?
I've heard of the term because I know um, the guy that Jamie, my former partner, got connected to. He's been like creating those right now, and she wants to create it too. That's why I already see what's happening. But yeah, I know of the term, but I don't know about the website.
Yeah, so they do have some communities on there that are listed, but I know that there's many communities that probably aren't listed, and for good reason. But I'm just not sure, if there's a community that already exists that I would kind of like fit into, or if I would have to be part of creating one.
Right.
Not sure
Mm.
about that, because some of these communities have existed for 10, 20 plus years, and that was a different world. So I don't, I'm just not really sure, because I know for me the most important part of the community is the people.
Hmm.
That's the most important part. Like, we could be on Mars for all I care. Just for me, it's, do the people share similar values and tenets and beliefs? Do we have the same, like, are we on the same wavelength? Are we all taking personal responsibility and not just, projectile vomiting our shit on each other? Um, do we have open hearts? Are we treating each other with kindness and respect? Like, really basic stuff. But I feel like even if it's so basic, there's that division, and I hate to say it, but there's that split in humanity right now, people who are there and people who aren't. So I know that from all the work I've done, I want to be around others who are on the same page as me.
Hmm. Yes, 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 yes. I feel that big, big time. And for me, it's there in my mind of like, I know I'm supposed to be part of some community, and yet personally, I'm at this juncture where I want to focus on myself, because what this relationship did is it brought up all the shit that I wasn't looking at. So like realizing that pretty much most of my life I've just been drifting around doing what other people expect of me. I had become an incredible chameleon, very good at becoming who someone wanted me to be, so good at it that I actually forgot I was acting. So it's this like complete new stage where I get to tune into like, what do I actually want? And then I know that as I tune in more and more into that, with each day, then the right community for me will materialize and I'll know what to do. Um, so yeah, that's where I'm at. It's like still like I know I have so much medicine and so much to offer. Like I know it and I feel it. I know I'm really fucking powerful. But it's like finally channeling it and connecting to it in a more deep way than I ever have is very much where I'm at. And I think that's part of the reason that I'm experiencing all these emotions, is because it's like, it's simultaneously really scary because it's this unknown. It's like this completely doing my own thing in a way I never have. And then simultaneously, it's like super exciting because I have no ties right now, really. I can technically, I mean, money is an issue, but I can technically kind of go where I would like. And so there's almost this fear. It's bringing up this fear of like, fuck, I'm actually completely free. What do I actually want to do? So that's what I'm processing, is like, I've never felt this before. Like I've said I've wanted it, but now that I'm here, I'm like, it's like, plug me back into the matrix. I don't know what I'm going to do. So obviously I don't really want to be plugged back in, but I'm playing with like, what do I desire to create? And it's yeah, it's bringing up a lot. And I also am just super fucking excited.
Yes, I feel that. I feel that. Asking
All
yourself
of it.
all of it,
Yeah.
asking yourself what you really want. Um,
Yes.
that's a really important question. And I've met a lot of people who have never asked themselves that question.
Mm-hmm.
And I only started asking myself that question probably in the last like 3 years. And I'm still thinking on it. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's I think that for me, I grew up and I never was asked that what I want. Like, so for me, I didn't even think that I got to have wants or
Mm.
needs for that matter. And that's kind of what caused the drift and the conflict between me and my parents. Um, but yeah, like you were talking about before, how long had that program been existing? 35 years. So that's so deeply wired into your whole being, into your essence, into your cells, into your nervous system. Like it's just in there. So to actually overcome that, like it might not be like this immediate thing that happens right away. It might take some time, and you just have to keep on asking yourself, what do I want? What, and then you might come up with something, and then you go try that out, and then you're like, oh no, that's actually not what I really want. Like, scratch that. I thought I wanted that, but not really. And
Yeah.
we only know through experience.
Well, exactly. And that's what I've been telling myself. Like even this relationship that I just got out of, at the time, it was exactly what I wanted. Because I had ended a relationship at the end of last year, and it broke me open in some beautiful ways. And then this year was largely like finally diving into some things. So like I took mushrooms and had a weekend with a coach where, yeah, also took ketamine and had some really powerful experiences. And then I went to a retreat and did ayahuasca and like had all these experiences where I saw my programs. And then I quit my job and I started to like nomad for a little bit. And then when Jamie and I met, I was like, oh, this is what I want. Like we were instant magnetized. The first time we met, we hugged, and it was like this like instant home feeling. And it was like, it was an experience that I needed to have and that I wanted to have. And then it got to the point where my soul was like, okay, you had the experience, but this isn't what you want. Now it's time to end it. So it's like you said, it's like these experiments. And this is a message for myself right now. It's like important to not have shame around an experiment that like quote unquote didn't work, because it played out exactly how it needed to. It was an experience that your soul needed to have in order to grow and learn. And I think what you said is really important. Just try things and see how they feel, and then
Yeah, exactly. Because if you don't, how else are you going to learn? I don't know if you listen to Abraham Hicks at all, but she
a
talks about,
little bit. Yeah.
yeah, so she talks a lot about the contrast and how that's necessary, and basically how we need to experience what we don't want in order to know what we do want. It's,
Yes.
it's important.
That's perfect. Yes, exactly. Because otherwise we'll always wonder too. If we don't experience it, we'll always wonder like, well, maybe I actually do want that. But if we don't try it, then we're always going to wonder.
Yeah, like, let's say, I don't know, let's do like a random thing. Like, let's say you are curious about like living in Alaska. And then you're like, man, I really wonder what would it be like to live in Alaska. And maybe you don't ever do it and you're on your deathbed and you're like, man, I really should have like tried out Alaska. I'm really regretting that I didn't do that. And on the other hand, if you do and you go, like you could love it and wind up staying there, or you could be like, you know what? It's too fucking cold. There's no sunlight. I can't
Yes,
do this.
yes, yes. Yeah, I love that. And that's kind of where I'm at now. There's like two things that I'm leaning towards. One of them is like potentially buying a canopy for my truck and just like living out of my truck for a while and like literally not having a home because it's very easy to do in a pickup truck. So that's something that has always called to me. It's like actually when I took mushrooms this January, I remember I was leaning against my friend's car, looking into it was in Utah. I was looking kind of into the mountains, and the mountains were like, come play with us. And I had this image of living a very simple life, like camping, traveling, getting into nature. So that has always called to me. And I don't know if it's my long-term goal, but it is an experience I desire to have. And then I posted recently, I think yesterday, about this like sexual energy that
Mhm.
I'm calling in.
Yeah.
And I shared that, I've only had a few partners, 4 or 5 partners, in terms of having actual sex with in my whole life. And it's always felt like I've had way more, but I've felt like there was this block because of experiences when I was a child telling me it was wrong. So that's another thing that I'm calling in now is like, maybe I need to go sleep with a bunch of people and just see what that's like because I've never had that experience. And if I don't have that experience, I'll always wonder like, what would that have been like? So this is a beautiful conversation. You're really reminding me of the importance of just like being willing to have experiences just for the experience. Yeah, I love that so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's why we're here. Like, we're here to have experiences and to feel all the things, all the feelings, to laugh, to play, to witness the beauty and the pain, all of it, all of it.
Yes.
You know, we're
Yes, exactly. Just the experience to
we're
be with
not,
it.
we're not here. I know, like, my channel is called Tigress Transcendence, and I talk about this more on my website, but we're not here to transcend being human. That's not what this is about. Like, this is here to we're here to transcend the fears and limitations that are holding us back from having the full human experience that we all deserve to have.
Yes. Yes. I think that, or I feel like that's a super common theme in the spiritual community too, is that we're supposed to ascend into the 5D realm and then completely like get rid of the human experience of like the primal part of us, the part that wants to explore and, like you said, play and get into nature and have sensual experiences. So that's so important. It's like if we look at the chakra system, I mean, we want to open up all of them, and those lower 3 chakras are very much the human, the animal part of us. So I agree. I think so important, so important.
Absolutely. And I think, honestly, I think the 5D is already here. I think it's been here for a little while. And like, to me, 5D is unity consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much what 5D is to me. So um unity and creator consciousness.
Mm,
Like, once you get to that state, you can't turn back. Like, there's no going back after that. You know,
mm-hmm.
that's kind of, that's how you exist, and that's your new reality, that's your lens, your perception, that's how you view the world now. So it can be really surreal at times. Like, I don't know how it is for you, but many times when I am out in the world in public around other people, I almost kind of feel like I'm in my own like dimension, kind of like,
Yes.
it's very strange. I'm like,
I totally get it. Well, that's what's fascinating is we're all on the same planet, and yet everyone's experiencing a different reality.
exactly.
Like there's people walking in front of me right now because I'm at this park and, I have no idea what their consciousness is like what their energy is like. They could be living completely different reality. And that's why it's so fun when you actually meet people who get it and can have these type of conversations. You're like, oh my God, I feel so fucking validated and safe and free, to be weird and to talk about all this shit that a lot of people would just like roll their eyes at or not understand.
Or dissociate or ignore you or walk
Yes.
away.
Right. They'd be like, 5D, what the fuck?
Oh yeah, it's
Yes.
okay. Like my my parents, I'm pretty sure they still think this, that I was in a cult. Yeah.
My parents thought, well, because Jamie and I tried, like, we had the open relationship container. So I think they had this image of like a sex cult and like there was just like people orgies happening all the
Yeah.
time. It's funny how the mind works, right?
Oh yeah. They go to like the extreme end of it, right? It's like all of a sudden you're worshiping, demons and stuff like that. It's like, whoa. What
Exactly.
happened?
Yeah, where's all the nuance? There's no nuance.
No, I mean, I think it's just again the limitations of the mind, and the ego just really doesn't like change. And
Hmm.
if someone can't even look at themselves and they can't even, if there's no introspection there, then they certainly can't, be open to like new concepts and ideas when it comes to other people.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of people still that are just working in like a very limited capacity. And
Yeah, running the same loops and the same programs. Yeah. And
yes,
as we said, it can be so challenging to get out of those, because the first step is awareness, and you see it. You're like, okay, I'm running the same loops that I have been for 30 years. And then it's a whole nother thing to be able to like lean into what it means to actually like step out of those loops.
mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, what would that mean for you? Like, give me an example.
In terms of stepping out of the loops,
Yeah.
or
Yeah. Like, let's say you're in a loop, um, and yeah, anyone. And what would that look like for you to step out of it?
that's beautiful. And that's very much where I am right now. It's like I'm being called to see my loops and then make new choices. So I'll share my experience. It kind of goes hand in hand with addiction. And that's one of the things that I want to help people understand, is that like they can step out of their patterns, they can step out of their shame. But one of the loops that I've been in is I'll feel an intense emotion. And then because I don't want to feel it, my body gets really tense and tight. And then I feel uncomfortable in my body, and I'll reach for some form of stimulation, usually my phone, sometimes my computer. And then eventually that feels good enough. And then I go back to like just the same reality I was in before, and nothing actually changes because I'm not fully feeling my feelings. So something I've been toying with recently is seeing this start to happen. So I think it's about seeing when the pattern starts to happen and then making a conscious new choice. So for me, it's like leaving my cell phone in my car when I go to the park so that I don't even have the option of reaching for it. That's the most present example I can think of. I'm trying to think if there's like a bigger example of like how I've done it. So to me, our loops are like electrified fences that surround our psyche. They're like defense mechanisms. And every time we try to go beyond these fences, we obviously get burned, right? We hit the fence and we're like, okay, fuck that. I'll stay in the loop. It hurts. So what I feel like it really comes down to is having the courage to walk through that electrified fence. The only way to change is being willing to like literally walk through that. So to do something courageous, whether it's like an external.
Oh, you might have frozen. Well, we'll give it a couple moments. Hopefully he will jump back on here. Hopefully it's not on my end. see. Oh, it was getting so good too. Let's see what happens. Well, hopefully he'll jump back on here. But yeah, I think what he was talking about, yeah, we lost him. He'll come back. But yeah, I think what Jeff was talking about, going through the electric fences, I think that's so important, to take that leap off the cliff, to do it scared, to do it terrified anyway, and to lean into that fear and discomfort, because that's how we really shift, and that's how we have our breakthrough. I'll share a recent experience. I was speaking with someone, and in the conversation, they made some comments that I found to be derogatory towards the female gender. And even though they were just, joking around, and, they probably didn't mean anything by it, it still affected me. And in the past, my loop, my pattern would have been to say nothing, just to let it slide, because I wanted to avoid the confrontation. Or maybe I just would have completely disconnected from that person, and we would have never spoken again. But in this particular instance, my higher self was calling me to do something different, because that was an old behavioral pattern, and I hadn't had the opportunity to actually break through it, because I haven't actually heard anyone speak in that way for quite some time. So this had happened in my earlier years, and I would always just sit there and be silent and say nothing, because I wasn't in my power. But this time it was different, and I decided that I was actually going to say something. And I was very kind and very, very neutral about it when I said it. He's coming back in here. Here he comes. Hey, you're back.
Yeah, so my phone actually said it was overheating. It like literally shut down.
Oh, no.
Have you ever had that happen before?
No, I haven't.
But yeah, I'm glad it was able to
You
cool
were
off.
on
And now
such
I'm
a
back.
roll too. I was like, no.
I know.
It was just too much. It was too much. The internet couldn't handle it.
Something. Yeah, there was some reason for it.
We're going through that electric fence, and it just short circuited.
Yeah, but essentially it comes down to consciously making a new choice when we feel the edge. It's like we get to the edge of the cycle, of the loop, of the discomfort of the program, and then we get to consciously evolve past it. Whether it's a new choice, whether it's sitting with more emotion than we ever have. So yeah, I feel like it comes down to awareness and then being able to make new choices.
Absolutely. Agree with that 200%. And I had a really interesting experience recently, where I had to kind of, recognize an old pattern, and I had the opportunity to break through it. And I think I did. But basically what happened was I was talking to someone, and I met this person through a family member. So it's a person that I already knew wasn't on my same frequency, but I was willing to still speak with that person. And it's so interesting, because a friend of mine says, keep the people in your life at your frequency or higher. And I totally understand that and where she's coming from there. But I don't know, for some reason, I just, I kind of felt like they could use a friend, so I started to speak with this person. And in our conversation, they made some comments that were derogatory towards women and sexist. And, they were just joking around, and I'm sure they didn't mean anything by it. But, that type of language is no longer okay with me. That's no longer acceptable for the people that are in my life. That's not okay. And, I recognize, because the last time I had heard someone speak like that, it had been many years. Like, I just don't hear people speak like that anymore, because the people in our community are just, you know, they're at a place where they're, you know, hopefully treating everyone with kindness. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so I was like, okay, this is an opportunity to break the pattern, because in the past I would have not said anything to avoid the confrontation. And
Yes.
but I did, and I told him, you know, exactly how I felt about it. And that was that. And it took him several days to even respond. And, you know, he obviously was not very open to hearing what I had to say, and, you know, was very defensive. And, you know, that's where he is right now. But, you know, the point is that I did something different than what I did in the past. Now, is what I did maybe what I would do next time? Maybe not. Like, I'm still kind of like learning and like fine tuning and figuring out like exactly what I want to do. But yeah, to your point, I did something
That's a
different.
great example.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's because we can't expect change to like magically happen. It's like our awareness expands and then we get to make new choices. And that's how we change.
Yes, we get to make new choices. That's important too. Not that we need to or we have to, but we get to. We get to.
Yes, yes, exactly. And there's no shame in not making new choices either. Like that's what's important is there's no better or worse. There's just it's like how conscious and free do you desire to be? What are you willing to go through to be free?
How much
Yeah.
discomfort are you willing to handle? Because there's a lot.
Yeah, because that's what it is. It's all you have to push through and dissolve all the defense mechanisms that your mind has so brilliantly placed around you so you don't get hurt. But then of course it keeps you trapped.
Yes, it does. And I mean, there's nothing better than feeling free. Like, even though I technically don't have a home, and, you know, I don't live the traditional job, and I don't even
Hmm.
have a lot as far as material things, but I feel free. Like, I can
Amazing.
literally do whatever I want, and I'm not like bound by the confines of my own mind anymore.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's total freedom, and I want that for everyone. I do. Yeah. So that's the vision that I hold. And sometimes I can get a little impatient, not gonna lie. Like, you know, I just want everybody to just like wake up already.
Yeah. But and I would offer you, do you know who Kyle Cease is?
No, I don't. Oh, actually, wait. Is he someone who used to be, he's an actor, right? And a comedian?
Yeah, he used to be a comedian and now he does like spiritual teachings. He still
Yes,
incorporates
yes,
a lot of
yes. I know
comedy,
who
but
that is.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's amazing. But anyways, he says that anything we judge about the world is just like judging ourselves. So when someone says like, "Oh my God, the whole world is asleep and I'm awake," it's always saying something about ourselves. So I just
Absolutely.
wanted to offer you that like, even saying like I want people to wake up faster is just saying something about your own experience.
Oh yeah, and I totally get impatient with myself too. That's the you know, the self-criticism, you know, like, why am I not further along than I should be, and why is this taking so long? And that's all part of the old program. And but, you know, I'm just being completely transparent that like sometimes that still shows up for me. Like, I'm not completely.
Yes. Yeah, you're human. Once again, you're not trying to just be some enlightened being of light that has no human tendencies.
Yeah. I like to tell people, like, I really have no idea what the F I'm doing. I really don't. Like, I don't think
I
anybody
love that.
does.
No, I mean, I feel like the more conditioning that you unravel, you get more clear. But to pretend like you know everything that's happening or is going to happen or knowing the future, yeah, that's just egoic. It's impossible. And I feel like spirit is always moving through us, like in a way that is not linear. So we might know what we're doing now, but will we know what we're going to do in 2 days, in a month, a year?
Not really.
Yeah.
No. That's why I always think that that one question, like, what's your 5-year plan? And now I just
Oh
like
yeah,
laugh at that. I'm like, what? I can't even go there.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, that's what has kind of not fucked me up, but it's like having a vision and then also not having a vision at all. Like I feel like you can have a vision of like the energy of who you want to be, like how free you want to be, how you want to carry yourself. But to have an explicit vision about like what you're doing or where you're going to be living, that can almost be limiting.
Yes. Yes. Because
Yeah.
then you're attached to something. Then you have
Yes, exactly.
even with this channel, I don't really have any expectations for it.
I
I'm like,
love that. You're just creating it because it feels
just doing
good.
it. Yeah, I'm just doing it. And if people see it, that's great. I'm hoping at least somebody sees it. And if they don't, that's okay too. Yeah, no expectations. And yeah, and that way we can just create and be free, and we don't have to deal with disappointments and judgments because we're not getting enough likes or we're not getting enough views or whatever it is, because I think people can be so attached to that. Oh my gosh, okay, so this just happened. I just have to take a moment to celebrate this. I told my friends that I would. I just got my first ever comment in the live chat.
Wait,
Yeah.
when it happened now?
Yeah, just now. So this is from, oh yeah, this is from my friend Victoria. Hi, she was actually on my channel. She says, I love Jeff's perspective. He just gave me a message about something that I am going through myself. Thank you.
Beautiful. I'd love to hear what that was.
Yeah,
That's so fucking cool. Live message,
we'll
your
share
first
it.
live message.
Yes, it was my first one. Woo!
That's amazing. It's so amazing.
I told my friends, I'm like, I will be so excited when that happens for this.
Woo!
Because that's what I really envision is people participating in our conversation too, and coming in the chat and asking questions and leaving comments, and like that's kind of what I envision to happen.
That's beautiful. I've had a similar vision of either doing a podcast or yeah, something like this, like a live stream, and then having it be very interactive. And then I think at some point, like wanting to speak in a physical setting live and have like a panel, and because these conversations are so fucking important and activating. Like even the example she shared, and then there's been things that you've asked me, or not even that you've asked me, but just us being in each other's energy is like bringing out things in one another because we're on the same frequency. So
Yes.
like you got me clear on my whole, like I want to nomad and live out of my truck, and I want to explore sexuality. Like you got me really clear on that just by creating this space. So I want to say thank you for that. And you got me clear on, you asked like how do we move past our conditioning, and by that metaphor coming to me, it made things more clear for me as well. So I just want to say how amazing it is that you've created this, and the importance of literally just people connecting is so fucking just unbelievable.
Oh, thank you so much, Jeff. I appreciate that. Oh, it just warmed
Yeah,
my heart.
yeah, so what you're doing is super important, super important.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, Jeff, if there are people that are watching this and they want to get in contact with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, let me whore myself out here. No, so I can't remember if we touched on this at the beginning, but I am a coach right now. I'm in the midst of restructuring, rebranding what exactly my medicine is. But I am a coach and I don't have a specific title. I hate the word life coach. In this, with my current clients, I support them, I activate them, my energy removes barriers and blocks so they can see more of their truth. But you can find me on Facebook primarily, facebook.com/J Schneid 518. So it's JSCHNEID 518. And that's where I do 99% of my communication is on Facebook.
Yeah. And I can put any links that you want me to put, I'll put in the description. So people will, they can click on that. Yeah,
Perfect.
that's awesome. Well, I have appreciated your energy and your time so much today. Just so blessed and honored to have you here. When I first started seeing your videos where you would come on and share, I just knew that, you should come on the channel, because that's something that I so greatly admire, is the ability to show up and be seen and witnessed and just be raw and vulnerable and authentic. And, it's just beautiful how you do that. And so you're an inspiration, truly. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that as well. But, in the darkest moments of this journey, I'm like wondering, like, is it all worth it? And then those moments of hearing the feedback and remembering that, yeah, it's really fucking worth it. It's really fucking important. Those are very healing. So thank you.
Yes, yes. Well, we'll wrap up the live stream. So I hope that everybody watching today enjoyed our conversation.